This week, the Washington Post published a damning report on Washington, D.C.'s NFL team, in which 15 women made allegations of sexual harassment and a toxic workplace. It comes as the team, following years of pressure, announced it was going to end the use of the Redskins name in Native American imagery. For now, the new image is a blank slate, with fans across the league wondering what comes next.
Yeah, the Indigenous American portrait next to the M.
Ed O'Hara remembers his role in rebranding the Redskins of Ohio's Miami University more than 20 years ago.
This was the Redskins logo. We changed it to the Red Hawks. The colors didn't change. We kept the core font, and the attributes stayed the same. Fierce, determined, athletic.
A few years earlier, his company, SME Branding, had helped New York's St. John's University transition from the Red Men to the Red Storm.
What was that process like, changing St. John's at a time before a lot of places were changing?
Yeah, they were way ahead. It was difficult. That took every bit of 2 years. It was fan involvement, it was research, it was name generation, it was logos, it was coaches. It was one of the more divisive, processes I went through. They're never easy, but they're always right, because they undid a pain that was existing in their community.
As Chief Osceola gets them started here.
Over the next 2+ decades, pressure would build on other sports institutions appropriating Native American imagery. Many would resist, like the NFL's franchise in Washington had until this week.
Give me a sense, where does Washington go now?
Well, I think the first thing was they made the decision, so that's really great news. Where they need to go now is to consider a longer-term strategy, because they're an 88-year-old storied franchise with 5 Super Bowls, 32 Hall of Famers. They want to continue that history, so they have to be careful and be diligent. And not only is this a name change, but it's really a community kind of beacon of doing the right thing.
8 years ago, O'Hara was hired to help the University of North Dakota rebrand from the Fighting Sioux to the Fighting Hawks. It's a process that took 3 years. During that time, the school's teams were nameless.
They were just UND hockey, UND football, UND lacrosse. It's not the best situation.
The NFL season is scheduled to kick off in 2 months.
But I think you have to be considerate of getting this right, taking your time. It's for the next 88 years, this decision.
What is the hardest part of this process?
It's the naming and trademarking. The logos are easy.
Why? Because
the challenges to a name, the opinions to a name. We have been in processes where there are thousands of names under consideration, and it's just a narrowing down process.
Do you have to think of things even, how does it sound when fans are chanting
Alliteration. The chant is important, We've eliminated names just on the chant. It just doesn't work. And I think the biggest one of all is trademark. I've seen things killed at the end. I've seen oppositions that you wouldn't believe.
Typically, a team would run proposals through major stakeholders, from the league to sponsors and season ticket holders. They'll test how a logo looks from inside the stadium, on a home television, and nowadays on a smartphone.
It feels daunting, all the steps you have to go through.
Yeah, if you do it right, yeah.
Everyone seems to have an opinion, and some graphic designers are sharing their mock-ups online. Ideas include the Washington Red Tails, a nod to the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II, the Rivals, and the Red Wolves, a Native American spirit animal. What most have in common? The burgundy and gold.
I wouldn't touch the colors.
Right.
I mean, they are gorgeous, they are unique, and I think fans will want some of the history to remain intact.
Colors are key, says former Raiders CEO Amy Trask. She once proposed a modest and temporary uniform change for the silver and black to team owner Al Davis.
How about for one game a year, we change the color of the pants and match it to the jersey? And you really would have thought, I said to him, well, what if instead of asking the sun to rise in the east, I suggest it rise in the west? He loved the passion our fans had for the logo and the helmet and the Raider brand.
It was a fumble.
Now a CBS Sports NFL analyst, Trask says while there are challenges, Washington has an opportunity and should enlist young fans in the rebranding process.
There are kids now who are going to be your season ticket holders and your fans in decades to come. Excite them now.
As for Washington's new logo, Ed O'Hara says it can be a sign of the team's values, adding that in recent years, logos have become more iconic in design.
You don't have to tell the whole story with the logo. It has to be clean, simple, bold. You have to be able to have it transcend the marketing mix and your fan base.
O'Hara believes that Washington's decision is an American moment. After all, we are a country founded in protest.
It's very ironic that it's the original Americans that we're changing a name that offended them in the country's capital. It feels like hell now for the Redskins franchise, probably, but they're doing the right thing, and over time, I think everybody will realize that and accept the change that they're going to make.
You know, one interesting thing about the colors, they're saying keep them the burgundy and gold, but there is a large coalition that would like them changed because they say then it makes it too easy for people to continue using that old gear that has the moniker on it.
The counter argument being that you want to own those colors, though, right? And
it's part of your history,
and move
it helps
forward
pass it on.
with that new name. And right now, it seems like the betting favorite is Red Wolves. Right now, who knows?
Exactly.
All over to you.
All righty.